All right, welcome back to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton. Thank you for joining us. We are pleased to have Jevon Lefebvre from the Left Side Heavy Pod back on the Speak Your Piece podcast. Jevon, what's up, buddy?
You know, man, I'm just living the dream. You know what I'm saying? I got the Speak Your Piece merch on. I got my Patriots hat. I'm in the mood.
You're wearing the black hoodie in August, which is definitely a mood. Like when you're wearing the hoodie when it's that hot out, that's definitely just like, the on your grind. Let's fucking go. Let's do this. I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks. I'm just gonna wear this hoodie, which I appreciate. Thank you, by the way.
Hey, I'm sacrificing my well-being to represent the brand. And and if I overheat halfway through this podcast and pass out, that may be why.
That should be like the tagline or the slogan for
Yeah.
like sacrificing our well-being for this podcast or for content.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Put
like
your body
Jackass.
on the line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like Jackass in a way.
Oh, 100%.
Uh,
Yeah.
so pretty much we're going to be going through NFL over under win totals. So essentially, we're going to go through every division. I have win totals according to FanDuel. Not that this podcast is sponsored by FanDuel, but if it would be, that would be awesome. But basically, FanDuel has totals for teams, how many games I think they're going to win this season. Jevon and I are going to go through every division, every team, give the over under. We're going to also discuss some mailbag questions that we got because we got 3 mailbag questions. So that's going to be really cool. Jevon, are you really just getting into football? Like, are you kind of like me where you get into football now because there's no hockey content? So you're kind of looking to, fulfill your engagement otherwise, well, hockey season's, a bit quiet. So I guess I'll pay attention to some football. I know you did a basketball podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
So feel free to talk about that if you want to. But are you kind of like me in that regards to football where you're just looking for other content now that hockey's a bit slow?
Yeah, this is like I'm in an area where I'm not quite I'll have my NFL preview shows coming out in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And now that NBA and NHL free agency is kind of like everything's over and done with almost, like all the major things. Now it's like a little dry spell where it's like, okay, what am I going to do these next couple weeks? And so, yeah, it's a little bit dry area, but I'm slowly getting the wheels turning into it. And yeah, I did come out with a NBA pod. I had my boy John Grimaldi. He zoomed in from New York, and I met him through the Blue Wire Hustle program I'm in. And not to carry on too far, but we actually recorded an episode back in April, and my audio was all screwed up, so I couldn't use it. So and then I had to record a different with someone else like the day after, and then get it out the following day. So that was like our second time recording, but it was the first episode I released with him. But no, it was a fun episode. Definitely go check out his podcast. From my point of view, he talks about basketball, football, and Marvel. So
Ooh.
yeah, that's basically what I did, but slowly getting back into the NFL.
I know what you mean with having audio problems because we've had you on the podcast with audio problems. So,
It
we
might
all
just
have those
be
issues.
yeah, I think I carry on the kiss of death like we talked about with golf to everything I do.
Well, no, it's kind of like what I said, how Peyton Manning, like, he makes his teammates better. Like, that's the one redeeming quality you hear about him, right? So he makes everybody around him better. And then you and I are just opposite, where it's just we make everybody around each other worse, and we just bring everybody down to our level, which is it's great. It's great. You love to see
it. Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a division you want to start with, or do you want to talk about first?
You lead the way, bro. I'm here to just tag along for the ride.
All right, cool. So since the Buccaneers are reigning Super Bowl champions, we'll start with the NFC South. How about that?
Sounds good, man.
So we're going to go through, again, each team quickly, and then we'll give a bit more of a deep dive answer at the end. So Tampa Bay is projected to win 11.5 games this year, according to FanDuel. Are you going over or under on Tampa Bay,
Jevon? If I just quickly check here.
Yes.
I believe their strength of schedule is the 4th easiest in the league this year, and they brought back all 22 starters on their team, and they're just the Super Bowl champs. So I think this is an easy over, in my opinion. just
right.
because I think Ronald Jones is also going to take a next step this year in the run game. And it's just like Brady hasn't seemed like he's going to age anytime soon. And their defense was top notch last year. So I think it's an easy over, in my opinion.
Carol or I'll go New Orleans at 9, over under 9 on New Orleans.
It'll be interesting because I'm assuming Winston is going to be the starter.
You would
It's
think so.
always
You would think so.
yeah, I think it's the right move. I think Taysom Hill is better as a gadget player. I think they kind of limit his role when he's just a quarterback. And now that you brought Winston in for a reason, so I think he'd have to be the starter. They brought my boy, Chris Hogan. I'm pretty sure they signed him.
They brought him out of lax. He was playing
Yeah.
PLL lax, and now he's
Yeah.
going to be playing for New Orleans.
Yeah. Now jack of all trades, but 9.5. I think that's an under. I think they just I think they just hit 9 in my opinion.
Okay.
Like it's gonna be like a slight under. They're gonna hover around the 9.5 mark in my opinion. Like if they were at 9, I'd say it's a push.
Sure.
But I also haven't seen their strength of schedule yet, so depending on where they're at, let me quickly search that up.
I'll just say quickly, friend of our pod and friend of your pod, Hayden Barton and I are going to the Seahawks Saints Monday night game. We have plans.
Yeah,
to
I
do
saw that.
October 25th. I want your opinion. So pretty much what happened was that I got a pre-sale code, and then I gave the code to Hayden because you're allowed to buy 4 tickets. I bought 2 tickets. I gave him the code so he could buy 2 tickets. As the fan of the home team, because I am a Seahawks fan, is that a bit of a dick move, giving like the pre-sale code to a fan of the visiting or enemy team? Is that a bit of a dick move?
Not if you know the person.
Okay, all right.
If you give it to a random stranger, then that might be a little
sus.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, you're boys with him, right? You had him on. You had him on like a pre-draft. You had him on for a mock draft episode kind of thing. So you're boys. I think that's okay.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah. So.
Do you got anything on the Saints strength schedule?
So Saints have the 22nd. So pretty easy. Like in the bottom third. Maybe I'll do a slight over at 10, but I don't know. That one I can kind of flip both ways. I think it's definitely gotten worse, and Michael Thomas, he might miss a couple weeks at the start of the season with the ankle surgery. So it's just going to be a matter of how they handle that. But I'm going to stick with my under at 9.
Okay.
And yeah.
And then Carolina and Atlanta are both at 7.5. I'll just say I'm going an over on Carolina and an under on Atlanta. I don't know what you got,
but Carolina has who at quarterback again?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, right? Yeah, I agree with the over for Carolina. I think Christian McCaffrey, although he really has nothing to prove, I think he's going to play with a bit of a chip on his shoulder this year because of the injuries, and everyone's kind of given the reins to Derrick Henry as the best back in the league, and I think that might rub him the wrong way. And also Sam Darnold has something to prove coming off of Adam Gase. He might have a type of Ryan Tannehill resurgence. So I can see the over. And it was 7.5, you said?
7.5.
Yeah, the Atlanta one's tricky because they might kind of play the Kyle Pitts bias and be really high on him, and it might just be another target, a younger Julio-like target for Matt Ryan, but their defense is something to be skeptical about. So I think an under is proper. I think they'll hover around the 6-7 win mark and be in contention for a top pick next year.
I got the under on Atlanta. So just to conclude, so basically Tampa Bay, I got an over on Tampa Bay as well. So we're both going over on the Bucs at 11.5. We're going under on the Saints at 9. And then we agree on Carolina 7.5 over, under 7.5 on Atlanta. I actually kind of like Carolina low key. I like their defense, what they're doing defensively. Like how do I put this? They are rebuilding. They are putting a new culture with head coach Matt Rule. Like they're, and offensive coordinator Joe Brady, who is from LSU. He
Yeah.
is improving, the team. They're getting better. It's a slowly but surely thing. Like, I don't think they're expected to make the playoffs this year,
No.
but I think if they can get 8 wins, 9 wins in the 17-game season that we're having now, I think that's a successful season for the Panthers.
Yeah, I think they're in a stage where they're just trying to take a step in the right direction. They know they're not in a contending spot, but they just want to have like a shimmer of hope that
Yeah.
the organization is going in the right direction. So
Mhm.
if they can if they can hit like 8 to 9 wins this year, I think, like you said, is a very successful season.
All right. We'll do the AFC South this time. We'll go with the other South division. Titans at 9 wins. Are you going over or under on the Titans?
I am going over on the
Okay.
Titans.
Indianapolis 8.5. Are you going over?
See, this one's tricky because
I should say, as we record this, Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson might come back for week 1, they're saying now.
I heard it's like more likely than not that they do
Okay.
play the season opener, but it's just a matter of it's their defense. I'm not worried about their backfield. I'm not worried about with Hines, Mack, and Taylor. I think Taylor could be RB5 this year.
Yeah.
Hilton, he's like good for 1,100 yards. Pittman, what kind of step is he going to take this year? Because he kind of got hot near the end of last year, but is he going to continue that going into this season? And then, like I said, their defense is good. It's just a matter of is Carson Wentz going to be good or bad? And I think he's going to be better than last year because he's now reunited with Frank Reich. And you said it was 9.5?
8.5 for the Colts.
8.5?
According to FanDuel's 8.5 wins.
I'm going to go over for the Colts.
Okay. I'm going over with the Titans at 9. I'm going over with the Colts at 8.5 as well. Because the Colts are set up everywhere except really quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big Carson Wentz guy, especially now when he's not completely 100% healthy. And he's not going to be healthy the rest of the year now at this point, if he's already hurt in August.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, though, the team around them gets somehow to 9 wins. I think they find a way to do it.
They also are tied for 23rd with at strength of schedule, so that could also help them out a bit.
They're in I don't want to say an easy division, but definitely not the hardest division.
Yeah, with the extra team, they should be able to, or I guess with the extra game, it kind of gives them another chance to slot into that extra playoff spot.
Jacksonville, the Jaguars at 6.5. I'm going under with the Jags. I don't know how you feel about them, but 6.5 just seems like a good under bet for me. And then Houston. What do you got for the Jags?
With Jacksonville, I can see him as like a 6-7 win team. Yeah, it's just like a lot of unproven territories. They had 1 win last year?
Yeah.
And not a lot of turnover besides Shaq Griffin coming in and Trevor Lawrence coming in, which is 2 huge things. But I'll go under, but I really like one player from Jacksonville, and that's DJ Chark. I think he's going to have a monster year this year.
Okay. But I don't mind that. I was going to say, I like Travis Etienne. I don't know how they're going to use him. I don't know what, Urban Meyer's talking about using him as a 3rd down running back, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
And like a receiving back, I'm pretty sure.
And yeah.
I think he's going to be like a bigger, more dynamic James White.
Yeah, that's probably a good comp for him.
So, James White, I love the guy. So,
I'm kind of obligated to take him in fantasy every year because he is
especially in PPR.
Yeah,
especially PPR.
Yeah. The other thing about Jacksonville, I will say, I don't believe in Urban Meyer. I don't think this is going to work. The Urban in the NFL experiment, I'm not buying it for a second. I just don't think. I think he might be out of the league in like 3 years if this
Yeah.
just goes bad.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that as well. I can totally see it. I think, yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. But, I mean, the Tebow effect. Let's go, baby. Yo, he definitely blackmailed Urban Meyer into signing him. Let's be real here.
Yeah, he probably did. I
It's like,
can't.
yo, sign me or I'm leaking everything from our Florida Gators years.
You don't want anything from 2007 to get out, do you, Urban?
Just give me a contract right now.
Basically, just like you won't give
Yeah,
me a deal.
yeah, exactly.
And then finally, rounding out the AFC South, the Houston Texans at 4 wins,
Under.
under big under.
Yeah.
I this might be the worst collection of players. Like I like some of the players, but altogether it might be the worst in the entire league. The Deshaun Watson factor is weird because I don't even think he should be playing. I think he should be on the commissioner's exempt list. Like just like
Yeah, it's
don't
so weird. Like,
just
because doesn't he
don't
have like what 22 allegations against him?
at least that at this point.
Yeah,
And for to not have him be a distraction, I think you should just have him be on the commissioner's exempt list and just
yeah,
let that shit get figured out before he starts playing football again. I think it's a bit unfair to Houston, to the Texans organization, to have him around there and potentially starting while all this is happening. But
yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you there.
but we're both under on 4 wins for the Texans
Yeah,
this year. Yeah.
if they're not surpassing 4 wins, if at most I'm saying it's a push.
Okay.
Like if Deshaun Watson somehow plays all year, then I think he can carry them to 4 wins somehow. He did it last year, although he had the help of Will Fuller. But
And Watt was on the team too.
yeah, so I can't see him surpassing 4 wins. They're gonna have a Jacksonville year. They might win like the first game of the year and then lose every game.
NFC East. This is going to be a fun division.
Very interesting.
Cowboys 9.5. Are you over or under on the Cowboys?
What's their defense looking like? Because Dak is still questionable to start. He gets an MRI like it seems like every 3 days. They have the second easiest strength of schedule. Their offense is like the Chiefs. Like they got Cooper, Gallup, Lamb. They have a what's their tight end's name again? He's like
Blake Jarwin.
yeah, he's like up and coming. Like he's a good, solid target. And they obviously have Zeke and Pollard.
Blake Jarwin sounds like the name of a country music star, doesn't it? Though
Yo,
not tight end for the
100%.
not tight end for the
100%.
Cowboys, just
Yeah.
a country music star from like Georgia or something.
Yeah, I tell you, 100%. Or like Louisiana or something.
Yeah, like definitely from SEC country. He's a country music star.
Oh, 1000%.
With a bit of a shady past.
9.5. I'll say under because their defense is still like, I don't know. Not, do you know what? I'll say over. I think they're gonna be at 10 wins maybe, but I don't know. Their defense is still like bad. Even when they had Dak, they were like 1-3.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. They're a tough team, but
I have a bit of a hot take with the NFC East. I think it's an under for the Cowboys this year. I like Dak. I think he's a great quarterback. Like I would love it if he was the quarterback for my team. I just don't know how the rest of the team. Like I don't think they can get their shit together. I don't trust McCarthy. I don't trust the defense, like you said.
McCarthy's the coach.
Yeah,
under.
I don't. I want to root for this team. Like I want to, I like the offensive pieces. I like Prescott. I want to root for this team. I just can't get myself to do so.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just like I said, their defense is just so suspect, and yeah, they had a Micah Parsons, but I think they needed more help in the secondary than they needed in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, like I'm sure they would have gone Pat Surtain if it was available to him, but I don't know. Like, I guess they just took best player available, which I respect, but I don't know. Their secondary is still like suspect, and now that the Eagles just got a couple more weapons and the football team just got Samuel and stuff like that secondary is going to be pretty exposed. So
Speaking,
yeah, I can go under.
I was going to say, speaking of the football team, FanDuel has them at 8.5 wins this season.
That is such an over bet.
I know that I would be
Uh,
hitting that so hard. I'm going
yeah,
over too.
that's such a steal, man. They could
So,
fucking win this division.
well, that's it. So basically, my hot take is that Washington is winning this division again this
Yeah,
year.
I agree with you, man.
Even with like, I think their defense could arguably be the top 5 again in the NFL. My thing on Fitzpatrick is that he's good enough to get you half a dozen to 10 good starts, not great starts. He's maybe going to get you 2 great starts in a year, if that, but he'll get you half a dozen to 10 good quality starts in a year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Washington will have a quarterback controversy. I think that's almost what they're planning for in a way with Heineke and Fitzpatrick. But I like this team. I like the number. I'm going over on the Washington football team.
Yeah, I think they could be like an 11-win team. Like, I think they're legit. Like, their defense is so good, and they just added Curtis Samuel to that wide receiver core. And then Logan Thomas is coming into his own as well. I think they should almost start Taylor Heineke because Ryan Fitzpatrick is almost like Tom Brady when he's coming off the bench. So they should just start Taylor Heineke for the first 2 weeks, maybe go 1-on-1, throw Fitzpatrick in there, and then they go on like a 7-game hot streak.
Yeah, if Heineke, like through 2 weeks, he throws like 150 yards and a touchdown or interception in both games, where he, has like a 50% completion percentage, and people are like, oh, I don't know, bring in Fitzpatrick maybe, and then you bring in Fitzpatrick and you go on like a 4-game winning streak. Like, that's what's going to happen with Washington. That's how this all works, right?
Like, they almost beat Tampa in the wild card, or like the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have Curtis Samuel there yet. And he was like one of the more underrated receivers in the league. So I think Washington's going to win this division. I think over 8.5 is like such an easy bet. I might put some money on that.
The other 2 players I want to mention with obviously Chase Young has to be mentioned, because Chase Young just looks like a fucking beast, and he just looks so good. But the running back, I want to mention Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
And J.D. McKissick, his former Seahawk, J.D. McKissick. So I have to mention him. But I mean, both of those running backs look really good. And if they are going to be over 8.5 wins, like we say they are, it's going to be because they have a really good running game as well to help mediate the quarterback issues.
Because like obviously the biggest question mark is quarterback, because Fitzpatrick, like, what Fitzpatrick are you going to get? Are you going to get 6 interceptions a game Fitzpatrick, or are you going to get 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, maybe 1 pick in there Fitzpatrick, where he's just slinging the ball wherever, laying his dick out, just saying like, yo, this is what's up.
It's just like Brett Favre back in the day, essentially, is what he's doing.
Exactly. He's throwing like high risk, high reward plays, and like I think he has receivers that are able to pull off receptions. And especially with Logan Thomas, because I think he's like a top half tight end in the league.
All right. We'll get to the final. We can get to these 2 teams, I think, pretty quickly. Giants, 7 wins, according to FanDuel. Over or under on the Giants? I'm going under. I don't trust this offense. I think their defense is going to probably be like a top half of the league defense, but I don't trust Daniel Jones. I think Saquon is better. Saquon's really good. They're just wasting his talent.
And he's coming off an ACL injury. He's still questionable. He's activated, but who knows if they're going to rush him back. I don't think it's worth rushing him back. And Kenny Golladay, he's like a top 10 receiver when he's healthy, but he's always hurt. So it's like, can he stay on the field? And they got Kadarius Toney, but like he's like a Tavon Austin-esque.
I was going to say,
and it's just like, is Tavon Austin really the player that I thought he was? Like, I don't know. They're a weird team this year.
Toney's going to be jet sweep guy all over the place.
He's going to be like a Mecole Hardman type.
Yeah.
But like a bit worse.
yeah, a poor man's McCole Hardman, and McCole Hardman's not even that great.
He's just
Uh,
yeah.
so, and I actually don't mind Joe Judge as a head coach. Like, I think he's a fine head coach. I just don't trust the offense and Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
That's just me. Eagles 6.5 wins according to FanDuel. Over or under on the Eagles.
Um.
I'll just say it outright. I'm big under for me.
Hmm.
Big under. I don't trust the quarterback position. I'm sorry. I think Jalen Hurts is okay, but he's not good enough, I think, right now to get you to 7 wins.
I'm gonna go over.
Okay.
They have the easiest schedule in the league. They just got Devontae Smith, who's like pro ready. He could easily surpass 1,000 yards his rookie year. And they have Jalen Reagor. I think he was decent when he was healthy. He's just battled injuries last year. And they have a top 10 tight end in the league in Dallas Goedert. And Jalen Hurts is a dual threat quarterback who I think if he just works on his mechanics, I think he can be a serviceable quarterback. And I think they can edge out like a few one-score games and maybe get to 7 wins. But they're gonna hover around that mark, so I can totally see him going under. But I don't know. I think they have a decent offense. It's not good, but it's decent. Like it's a good starting point. They have a
It's
lot of young
probably
guys to build off of. So I think they can climb to 7 wins.
it might be between like the 20th and 22nd ranked offense in the league this year.
Yeah.
Um,
Like they have some bright spots, but it's not like solidified yet, if that makes
no,
sense.
and I think the other thing to keep in mind is that this is a tear job that's going on in Philadelphia right now from their Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah.
I think the worst of it is over by getting out of the Wentz contract to a certain extent and maybe getting away from Doug Peterson. But I just don't. I see them picking in the top 5 in the NFL draft this upcoming year than being a 7-8 win team.
Fair enough.
Let's do
How many wins do you see him at?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. So I think they're a lot better than Houston, and I think Houston's going to be around that mark.
The question is, do you think they're better or worse than Detroit?
Better.
Okay. Interesting. We'll talk about Detroit later on. AFC East. This is a fascinating division. We'll start with the reigning division champions, Buffalo Bills, who are projected to get 11 wins according to FanDuel. Are you going over or under?
Easy over for me.
Okay.
Easy. I think you can lock them in for 13 wins at least.
All right.
Like they're tied for 23rd for the strength of schedule, and they're all around just good. And Josh Allen, I think this is a prove it year. Like, can you do it again? And I think he's capable of doing so. So I think it's an over for me.
I think there's going to be a little bit of regression from this team, but I still am going to take an over on. I just don't see them being I don't see them winning fewer than 11 games. Like, I don't think they're going to win 10 or less games this year. That's why I'm going over.
Seeing a 10-7 record beside Buffalo at the end of the year, or like whatever, if they get a tie, I'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to lose more than 5 games this year, which puts me at the over.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see how
They're a very good team, and I think this is going to be their division for years to come.
Yeah, I just I love Allen. I think Allen's a great quarterback. Yeah. I love the Stephon Diggs trade and pairing him with Allen. I think that made a lot of sense last year.
This is a thing that I've heard over multiple podcasts that I've listened to, and something I genuinely agree with. That trade Diggs for the pick that turned out to be Jefferson, both teams do that over again.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
So I think it was just like a Diggs. He led the league in receiving yards last year, so you can't complain. And I think he's capable of doing it again because he's one of the best route runners in the league. That's the number one factor in a receiver is can you create space off of press coverage? And I think Diggs is capable of that, and I think that's what Allen needs. So I really like that, but I think that what's going to put him over the edge is Trubisky sitting behind Allen, and just coaching him up a bit, because he is the MVP, the Nickelodeon most valuable player. You know what I'm saying? So Trubisky,
Money Mitch, as I used to call
yeah,
him.
100%. Yo,
I
he will like dig your team into a hole and then throw 300 yards in the second half to bring it to a close game.
that was just it. Where it's just like like outside of like the first like dozen plays that are scripted, and like the 2 minute offense, he's absolute dog shit. But give him like the scripted plays, give him like the 2 minute offense all the time, and the dude is just electric.
Honestly, one of the more underrated running quarterbacks in the league. I'll give him that.
Okay,
He's
all right.
a very athletic player. It's just he's not the best.
This is more time on Mitch Trubisky than I was expecting before we started this podcast.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't expecting to give him this much shine either. But hey, man, when you win MVP, you gotta.
Miami Dolphins, they're at 9.5 according to FanDuel. Are you going over or under on the Miami Dolphins?
Over.
Okay. I'm going over as well.
Their defense is the truth. They added another weapon in Waddle, and I think he's Tyreek Hill-esque. A little bit more of, obviously worse because we haven't seen him play much, but he's a very quick and agile, smaller receiver, so fast, and I think that'll help a lot with Tua, because I think he's going to be an easy under receiver, throw him and then let him do the rest. Myles Gaskins is the truth. Gesicki's coming to his own, and I think Tua is going to play a lot better, because he even admitted last year, he's like, I didn't have my hands too much in the playbook. I didn't know too much of it. My confidence wasn't too high, all that sort of stuff. I think Tua's going to take a big step this year. And obviously, this is a prove-it year for him, because Miami needs to see what they're dealing with, right? Because the turnover for quarterbacks is a lot quicker than it used to be. So, over for me.
I'm going over, and also because I'm betting on myself via Tua, because I said before the draft I would take Tua over like Joe Burrow.
Okay, so you're stubborn in a way.
No, I mean, I kind of have to, I'm not fully committed, but I am committing myself. Like I am standing by I'm standing by what 2020, late 2019 Ian said of rather have Tua over Burrow. So I'm kind of obligated to say over and away. But I mean, like a lot of what you said is true. I like Gaskin. I like Mike Gesicki. I like their defense. Waddle should be really good. Devontae Parker is another guy who I really like. I think their offensive line might be better than people give it credit for this year. I love Brian Flores too as a coach.
I love him.
Yeah.
I think he's like the Rod Brendamore of the NFL.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. I love that comparison.
By the way, in my keeper dynasty league this year, I had the last 2 picks of the first round, and Jalen Waddle was one of my picks. So I was able to capture Jalen Waddle at the end of the first round. And I almost got Devontae Smith as well, but he was picked right before I had the next 2 picks. So, yeah. But I was very happy with getting Jalen Waddle, because I think he's going to be very dynamic.
Okay. All right.
Which makes it a lot more easier for Tua, which is why I think he takes a step.
I like that. Speaking of a team you like, the New England Patriots.
Yes, sir.
According to FanDuel, are projected at 9 wins this upcoming season. Very curious to see what you have to say on the over-under for the New England Patriots this year.
I think this is a push. I think they finish at 9 wins. They really helped themselves on defense. They're getting Hightower back. They're getting Chung back. And I think that helps a lot with their defense. J.C. Jackson took a step last year. And I think another year of Sam Duggar, Winovich. I think they played well last year enough, especially Winovich. And if Gilmore decides to play and doesn't get traded, then I think that really helps with our secondary a lot. I think we have a pretty good secondary with McCourty. And then our offense, this is where it kind of gets suspect, because what's our quarterback situation like? Is Cam gonna actually play like he was before he got COVID last year? Because I think he was a top half quarterback before he incredibly regressed. And then we got Mac Jones sitting behind him, and apparently he looks good in training camp. He's a very accurate thrower of the ball. He's very smart between the ears. Obviously not the most athletic quarterback, but under the Bill Belichick system, you don't need to be incredibly athletic to be a quarterback for New England. Our biggest suspect is our wide receiving core. And Jacoby Myers really took a step, but is Aguilar going to be the same Aguilar he was last year, or is he going to be Eagles Aguilar, where he's dropping, he can't catch a beach ball? So
Okay,
that's good.
What was the thing about it? You remember a few years ago when there was like a burning building in Philadelphia, and there's like some dude yelling on the street, was like Aguilar couldn't catch the kid out of the building or whatever. Do you remember that video?
I actually never saw that, but that's a pretty filthy chirp towards Aguilar.
I want to see if I can pull that up later on, but there's definitely something towards that, which I thought was great.
But yeah, I mean, Patriots got Jonnu and Hunter Henry. Henry, I think he just went in for like shoulder surgery or something like that. He's gonna be out like a few weeks, which I mean, I'm not surprised. He's always hurt. But New England, I think it's a push at 9. I don't think they're gonna hit double digits. It's just like a very weird year. Like they got Judon as well. Like they got a lot of depth pieces. They spent the most money out of any team. They spent the most money. I think they spent like $150 million in guaranteed money this year, which is like the most they've ever done.
Something like 220 million in total dollars over the term of these deals, which is fascinating
for New England. And I think that might have played a part because Bill saw Tom win the Super Bowl without him. So he's like, okay, can I win the Super Bowl without Tom? So we'll see. But I hated the Mac Jones pick at first, but I was like, I'm not going to judge anything until I see him play first, at least a couple years in, kind of like a Trubisky kind of thing. You know, who knows with him? He's good pocket passer. We'll see. He's a good mind of the game, and I think that's something you can't teach, which is why I'm not going to hate on it yet. And I mean, yeah, but I think it's a push at 9. I think that's a very solid number for their win total. Honest Patriots fan here. I'm not going to say they're going to win the Super Bowl yet, but I think they're going to be better than last year. And they were like an 8-win team last year, and they almost beat the Bills. So we'll see. Hopefully, Cam with a full, more boosted confidence and a full training camp, more money guaranteed thrown his way, so he has a bit more trust in his coaching staff. Maybe that kind of kicks him in the ass a bit, lights a fire under him, and maybe he can get a bit more money after this year. So I'm excited to see how they play, and sorry for the long-winded answer, but I think a push at 9 is very respectable for New England.
Dude, like I say, this is a free podcast. If people complain, like I don't understand what they're upset about. It's free content.
It's football content, man.
Yeah,
this is the first football podcast I've recorded in like 6 months, so...
We're just getting it all out now. Like you're just like unloading.
We live, baby. We live, baby. We're
unloading 6 months worth of like thoughts and feelings in one. I'm gonna go with like the least confident under.
Yeah.
At 9 for New England. Like
okay.
I see how they get to 10 or 11 wins. Like I can see how they get there. I thought N'Keal Harry was gonna be a really good receiver. And it hasn't really panned out.
One thing that frustrated me was like the year after his rookie year, they called him a bust already, and I was like, hey, he was hurt majority of the year. You can't really pin that on the player himself, but he is looking more and more like a bust, especially when we could have got DK. But I mean, apparently he's been killing it, but he also wants to get traded, so it's like I don't even know what to make of N'Keal Harry right now.
And Cam,
very weird player to judge. It's hard.
I want to root for Cam. Last year was very difficult to root for him.
Because you put 400 yards on your Seahawks?
That, and the fact he, like you say, he regressed hard in the second half of last year.
After he got COVID, yeah, it was tough.
And that's why it kind of like the N'Keal Harry thing. Where like I don't want to judge players off 2020. because I don't think 2020 is a really good model to base players or to provide subjective objective opinions on players based off the COVID season that was the once in a lifetime season that 2020 was. So I'm willing to give him another chance at quarterback for New England. I like the Mac Jones pick at 15. I thought for where you picked him, it was a good selection.
At 15, yeah.
Do I think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the league at some point? Maybe.
I think he's going to be starting for the Patriots down the road, and I think he could come in and play an actual starting role, not like a week 17 game. Like, I think he could come in around week 7 if Cam's not playing well. I could see them giving a chance for Mac Jones to play in like the second half if they're getting blown out or something, like that kind of thing. Or say, like, for example, say they're playing the Jets and they're just like they're up like 30-12 on the Jets in like the third. Maybe throw Mac Jones in for a couple drives here and there, kind of like they did with Stidham. Like,
I was gonna say with every Patriots Jets game when they're up 30-12, you just throw in the other quarterback.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what Mac Jones brings. I'm just excited for the Patriots season overall because I think this is a very interesting because there's a lot of turnover for them. It's a very new Patriots look, and I'm just excited to see what they bring.
Final thing on the Patriots, speaking of looks, thoughts on their jerseys. So they changed.
I like them.
You like them? Okay. I like them too. I know there was
I think they're clean. They're clean.
Especially the white ones. I like the white ones.
Oh, I wanted a white Newton jersey, but then after how bad he played, I thought we weren't going to re-sign him, and then we gave him 14 times his money that we gave him the first year, and then I was like, well, now I don't know what to do. But yeah. No, but I think they're clean. I was gonna wear my Edelman jersey, but I had to represent the brand.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Loyalty. This is a real loyalty that you're following here, which is great.
I was excited to put this on, and I tried shouting you out on my story.
Yeah.
But then it didn't upload for some reason. So then I was like, I didn't realize that until after. But
hey, you'll figure it out, dude.
I'll shout you out again.
Well, the thing about those hoodies are gonna look fucking sick in the fall. Like those are going to be the hot commodity in the fall. Let me tell you.
Go buy the merch, everybody.
Yes,
go buy the merch. Hit up Ian for some hoodies. They're comfortable as shit. They're nice. They're slick. Go buy the hoodies.
We have to talk about the Jets. I'm sorry, but we have to talk about the Jets. Under for me, they're at 6 according to FanDuel. It's an under for me.
I think it's a push.
Okay. Do you think Zach Wilson's good? He's not second overall good to me, but he might be something.
I think he's good.
Okay.
I think his arm strength is going to work very well with the receiving core.
I like Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
I like him.
I agree.
NFC North. Speaking of fun divisions, also speaking of plugging stuff, I did my NFC North preview for speakyourpiece.ca today. So that was my NFC North preview blog.
Go peep it.
Go read it. Go read my work. I do impeccable work. Packers, 10 wins this year, according to FanDuel. Over or under on the Packers?
Over.
Okay. I'm taking over too.
Especially with Rodgers back playing, it's like he might win MVP again because he's just like he's that petty.
Well, if Rodgers and Devontae Adams are having like their Jordan 98, like the Jordan Pippen 98, like when
last dance kind of thing.
Like if you're doing that, like fuck you, like I might have to bet on the Packers every weekend because
they could be in the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, like that's just like okay, fuck, these guys are really serious now.
Yeah, it's like God damn it.
Fuck you guys, come on, like aren't we all trying to be like that?
Did you think he was going to return to Green Bay?
I thought it was Green Bay or Jeopardy.
Yeah, Sam.
Like I didn't think he was going to go to another NFL team. Maybe he'll go to another NFL team now.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because like I didn't think Green Bay was willing to trade him because it's like, yo, like just fucking play. Like, come on, man.
Well, the thing is like with Rodgers, it's like some team, and my guess it's like the Broncos, but some team has to just throw out an offer that the Packers would just be too stupid to, like 4 first-round picks, 2 starters, a bunch of like young guys, like just a bunch of picks where it's like you'd be dumb not to take it. But
yeah,
I don't know. I like the Packers outside of Rod. Like Aaron Jones, really good. Devontae Adams, really good.
also on my dynasty team.
Defensively, I don't mind some of their defensive pieces either. In what's their quarterback? I talked about him the other. God damn it, who's
Jair Alexander?
Jair Alexander. He's really good.
Yeah, he's a top 3 corner in the league.
Yeah, I talked
top 2 arguably.
He's really good.
They do have the 4th hardest schedule with their opponents' combined 2020 record at 542. So, but I don't think that's going to affect them too much. I think they're going to get to like the 12-win mark.
Yeah, they should. I would be shocked if they don't get to 11 wins this year.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Rodgers is going to play with a chip on his shoulder. Like I think he's playing pissed off this year.
Minnesota Vikings 8.5 wins this year.
The Vikings, man, they're such a hard team to judge every single year.
This is an undervote for me, mostly because of just Kirk Cousins just being a dick about not getting a vaccine.
Yeah, what's their total at?
8.5.
I think it's an under. They have the 5th hardest schedule, and I don't know if I trust their team entirely to actually put together a winning year this year. So I got him at like 7-8 wins. I think Dalvin Cook's gonna have another monster year, but outside of that,
Cook and Jefferson are gonna be really good.
Yeah.
Cousins, I think there's too much adversity for Cousins. I think their defense will be fine again. I don't think their defense will be great. But I'm going under 8.5 wins for the Vikings.
Yeah, same here.
Team I really like this year, the Chicago Bears at 7.5 wins, according to FanDuel.
7.5 wins. I got the under.
Okay.
I'm
taking the over. And it's for 2 major reasons why I have the over with the Bears.
Hit me.
I really believe in Justin Fields. Like I was watching some highlights to
when does he come into play though? Because I like Fields.
I think you start him week 1.
Really?
I think you start him right away. I think Fields, I don't know if it's because of the recency bias of me just watching some Ohio State film and some training camp film, but like I would start that dude right away. I think he gives you the best chance to win right away. And he's athletic, high IQ. I think he makes some, smart plays for the most part. I think he did a really good job, I think, at Ohio State of putting the ball in a place where only his receiver could get it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's Ohio State. It's
he's really tough. He's a really tough player too. So like, it's going to take a lot to get him like out of the game.
That's what, and I know like Ohio State and the Big Ten is not the NFL and the NFC North, and I totally get that. I understand. I'm just going with Fields, who I really like, and I think the Bears have a resurgence on defense this year. And by resurgence, they I think had a top 10 defense in yards per game, total yards per game against, and still managed to carry Trubisky's ass to the postseason somehow last year.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm betting on defense and Fields. I like, Allen Robinson.
Yeah, Allen Robinson's probably the most underappreciated receiver in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going with the Bears at a heavy over. The Bears actually might make the playoffs this year. That's my I could see them making the playoffs.
Now that you say that, I could see them hitting the over. I'm very indecisive with this team. But I guess I'll just eat my words. They have the 3rd hardest schedule in the league, which is why I kind of
You're timid to go in all in as I am on the Bears.
Yeah, so I'll put them at around that 7-win mark, but I think they're gonna be a slight under.
And even if here's the thing, so their quarterback room has Fields, Andy Dalton. I kind of like Andy Dalton in a way, and Nick Foles. Basically, Foles is like Ryan Fitzpatrick too, where you don't start Foles immediately at the start of the year.
He's good coming off.
Yeah, you bring him in week 4 when your team's in a rut, and Nick Foles just comes out of nowhere and he just rattles 3 or 4 wins in a row for you.
Yeah. All right, I respect that over from you.
Detroit 5 wins. The Lions, 1 pride.
Push.
Okay, it's an under for me. I like some of the pieces. I as a Seahawks fan, I feel like I'm kind of obligated to say I even like Jared Goff. Like I respect Jared Goff in a way. And
Maybe under. I'll go under. Yeah.
I just I don't see it with the Lions. Also, I don't think Dan Campbell is mental. Like he might be insane. Like that dude.
You don't believe in the bite in the kneecaps? Him doing burpees with the boys.
Did you see his coffee order? Like his Starbucks order?
Yeah, he gets like 2 venti espressos or some shit like that.
In the morning, like as he's walking up to training camp, he's just like crushing 2 venti Starbucks. And it's like, this man might be insane.
Yeah. Legit clinically insane. Put him in an asshole.
Yeah, under 5 wins for the Lions. They might be the most entertaining team in the worst way this year.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, I'll go under as well.
We'll move it on to the AFC North. This is just going to be an absolute bloodbath of a division.
Yeah, every team has a top 10 hardest schedule in the league.
Yeah.
Every team, which is like wild. So like I think like whoever comes out of this like with a good record is the truth.
They might not win the Super Bowl because of all this shit they've had to go through all over the year, but it's going to be an absolute bloodbath whoever wins this division by the end of it. Baltimore, the Ravens, 11 wins this year. Over under.
I'm gonna go with a push again. I think they're sitting pretty at 11 wins. I think Lamar Jackson he could win MVP again this year. I think since he was so slept on last year. I think that Baltimore they got Rashad Bateman, and he's probably the most pro-ready receiver in the class. But it's just like how often are they going to utilize him? Because Lamar Jackson, like Baltimore's a very run-heavy offense, so I got him at 11 wins.
That was the other thing. That was the other thing I forgot to mention with talking about Houston. How their new head coach David Culley was the passing game coordinator or passing coordinator, whatever, for the Ravens, and it's just like, no offense, but of all the coaches you could hire and all the people you could hire to be your head coach, why would you want the Baltimore passing coordinator to be your head coach? Like, what has Baltimore done passing wise? It's like, yep, that's what we need. That's what we're missing. And we need to bring that to our organization. I just didn't get that with Houston.
Yeah. I don't know. Baltimore's a weird team. They're very like if they're not handing it off, then Lamar Jackson is just taking it. And then like he throws like 18 times a game, like if that. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, I got him at 11.
I have them at an over, but I could definitely see under with the Ravens.
Yeah.
One of the other fascinating things I saw is that the Ravens offensive line was ranked in like the bottom 5 last year, according to PFF.
PFF's weird though. Like apparently,
yeah, they are weird. I will admit they are weird, but
like according to them, like James White was the best running back in the league last year, or
well,
like 2 years ago.
I don't know if you saw the other thing of like Connor Williams stopped like Aaron Donald, even though Aaron Donald was like 5 yards into the backfield when they were practicing like the Rams Cowboys. Basically like Donald pushed like Connor Williams, a Cowboys guard, like 5 yards back, and then PFF just like captioned it like Williams won, Donald nothing, and it's just like, do you guys
know what you're talking about?
You guys need some more O-line people within your organization. I could see under with this team. Like if Lamar potentially gets injured, the O-line struggles. I'm going to say over though, because they're the Ravens and they always just find a way just to fuck with whatever somebody else is doing. Just ruin. I remember a couple years ago when they were in Seattle and like Lamar had his resurgence, like his MVP year, and he just went into Seattle and he just whipped the Seahawks. And it's just like, oh, so that's how it's gonna be. Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Lamar.
Okay. Yeah, good for you. But
Yeah.
and John Harbaugh is like one of the best coaches in the NFL. So
Yeah.
I'll go with the Ravens at an over of 11. Cleveland Browns at 10.5.
I got them at over.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're really good this year. I think they're going to be at like 12, 13. I think they're going to be close to like Buffalo level.
I have them as an over, and I might even put them at like put some money on them winning a division this year.
Yeah, I really like Cleveland this year. I think they got a steal in the draft. I forget his name.
The linebacker from Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a steal in the second round, and I think their defense is just very well rounded, and they have a very good offense. And I do think that Baker Mayfield is going to have a good year this year. So I think they're gonna, I think that's a good over for me.
Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa
Yeah,
for
that's
Notre
the guy.
Dame. Really, really good linebacker out of Notre Dame. Cleveland. I think I like Baker more than most people do.
Yeah, I like Baker too.
I actually respected the pick from the Browns because it's like if he's your guy, he's your guy. Like you take your guy.
Yeah,
Which is what I respected about the move of taking him first overall. The running backs are really good with Chubb and Hunt.
one of probably the best dual backfield in the league. It has to be. Nick Chubb's like a top 5 running back, and Kareem Hunt's like a top 15, like at least. Yeah, they're both good catching running backs. Cleveland's backfield
They can
is
do
probably
whatever
the best part of their team.
they can do whatever you want them to do, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Their offensive line might be the best in football again.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr. might be healthy for a full season, possibly. I don't know. Maybe not. I just don't know with Odell. I don't know if you can trust him anymore. But
I think he's at the point where he's at like just over 1,000 yards a season.
Yeah.
But according to Jalen Ramsey, he is one of the hardest wide receivers to guard because he's pretty fast and agile. It's just a matter of, like you say, can he stay on the field and can he get the targets?
What week do you think Jarvis Landry is going to throw his once a year insane like touchdown pass to Odell or Donovan Peoples-Jones or something? Like that's going to happen too. Where
I think it's going to be like week 3.
Yeah.
Like I think they're going to get it going like right away.
The other thing I was going to say, Landry just has one of the best deep balls I've seen from a non-quarterback. Him and Mohamed Sanu are up there.
Yeah, he's probably better than some people's backups.
Mitch Trubisky?
I might even put him on the same level. Rolling out to the right or rolling out to the left, I guess, or because Landry's a lefty. So Landry rolling out left, Trubisky throwing out right. I think they have the same percentage of completing a pass, and one of them's a receiver.
Oh God. But no, we're both at Browns over 10.5.
Yeah.
All right. Pittsburgh Steelers, a really intriguing team. 8.5 wins according to FanDuel.
This one's an under for me.
I have them as an over, but again, it's not very. It's kind of like Baltimore and New England, where I'm not very confident with the over or the pick I made. I want to like Pittsburgh. Like
I like Claypool because he's from Abbotsford, so shout out.
I listen. I really want to like Claypool. I want to like Juju Smith-Schuster. I like those guys a lot. I like Najee Harris, who is their new running back. I like their defense, Devin Bush, Minkah Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt, all those guys. It's just the fucking Steelers. I hate Big Ben. I don't like the Steelers.
They're a quarterback away from almost like competing for the division. I don't trust Big Ben.
No.
They were, I think, a lucky 11-5 team last year, which is why I'm putting them at the under.
The 8.5, I can see them going like 9-8 and missing the playoffs. Like I see them, or maybe eight. Maybe I
No,
guess
do you know
eight.
what? That's a good point because if I said New England to push, then I'll put the Steelers at over 8.5 because I think they're better than New England.
Yeah,
I
well, the problem is just like if Ben goes down, I think this team is like going to be coming from behind, and they're just going to be tough to watch all year. No offense to like Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges or whoever, but
yeah.
this if Ben it because here's the thing, Ben's not going to play a full season. I highly doubt he's going to be playing 16 games this year. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
And as a result, I guess they'll find a way to get to the over, but I'm really not confident in that.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. Like they have the hardest schedule in the league this year. And with Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback, it's like I don't know, it's gonna be hard to get that offense going. But I think Najee Harris really adds another element to that offense that can kind of help with like the dump offs and stuff. He's like a Derrick Henry, but better at receiving. And
Yeah, that's a good comp
so
actually.
so that's why it's like, and their defense is like top 3 in the league.
Yeah, their
So
defense is fucking ridiculous.
so yeah, I'd put them at a slight over. I guess I'll put them at a slight over, like a 9-win team.
I'm really gonna feel like an asshole when they only win like 6 or 7 games this year, and it's just like fucking Ian, you idiot. Rounding out the AFC North, Cincinnati Bengals 6.5 wins this year. Are you going over or under on the Bengals?
I'm gonna go under because they still don't have an offensive line for Burrow, and I know the Jamar Chase pick is good, but I think that'll round out a bit more a couple years in. This season, though, I got him at under.
I'm also going over. I have everybody in the AFC North going over for some fucking reason, but the Bengals, I they'll I think they'll get to 7 wins if they can keep Burrow up long enough, which I don't know if they can, but if they keep Burrow up long enough, Higgins and Chase each get 1,000 yards. The defense plays well enough. I see how they get to 7 or 8 wins this year.
They have they're tied for 6th with the hardest schedule in the league.
Yeah, not confident with the Bengals. Also, I don't know if Zach Taylor's good as a
Yeah,
head
I don't
coach.
know.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think he's awful. I don't think he's spectacular, but he might just be okay.
Yeah, yeah, they're definitely interesting to evaluate.
I mean, I'll say over, I guess. I don't know. NFC West. This is also a really brutal division. The LA Rams.
Honestly, I disagree with you. I think this is probably the best division in football.
Well, it's a brutal, not a brutal division in terms of like the teams are awful. It's just a brutal division in like teams like competing with one another, like the AFC North.
Like, yeah, like if you think the AFC North is gonna be a bloodbath, this is gonna be a bloodbath.
Yes, exactly.
Like, like a team will finish last at like 9 wins, or like they'll finish last at like 10 wins, and it's just like this team's better than half the teams in the league, and they're missing the playoffs, like that kind of thing.
There's a good chance. I don't know about a good chance. There's a chance that every team in this division makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
Rams 10.5 wins. Are you going over or under?
Over.
Over. I think Stafford's really good. Like that was my favorite thing. I'm going over too, by the way. That was my favorite thing about reading like Lions message boards and Reddit pages and posts and all that sort of stuff. It's just people like if Matthew Stafford was actually on a competent team, like he'd be a Hall of Famer. But because he's spent however many years on the Lions, he's just wasted a good chunk of his prime. I think he'll be good for the Rams this year. I'm excited to see how it works out with the McVay offense. And
yeah,
if he
I put a future on them to win the Super Bowl.
okay.
Not, I didn't put a lot of money down because like I don't know. Like I don't usually gamble, but I put
I
like
don't.
10. I
Yeah.
put $10 down to win like 110.
Okay. Their defense obviously
So
is really good with Ramsey. Again, the Aaron Donald guy that I mentioned on earlier. He's okay.
yeah,
Um,
I think Higbee takes a hit this year because Stafford doesn't necessarily use his tight ends a lot. So I think Higbee might take a hit this year in terms of he might have to take on like a bit lesser of a receiving role. But I
and
mean,
I was gonna say for the early part of like the McVay Rams offense, they never used tight ends. Like
yeah.
Gerald Everett and Higbee were like the Rams
Well,
for the longest time, and they
yeah,
had.
I don't know. Jared Goff used them quite a bit, which is why I think I'm high on TJ Hawkinson this year.
Okay.
But no, I still think the Rams are going to be electric this year.
I have the Rams at over 10.5 wins. Speaking of teams in California, San Francisco, 10.5 wins as well, according to FanDuel. Are you going over or under on the 49ers?
Sorry, what's their win total at?
10.5.
I got over.
Okay. I got
I think
under.
they're over.
I got under, and maybe I'm a bit biased when I say under. It's not meant to be completely biased. Like I think they're still an 8 or 9 win team this year, but I'm not sure what the quarterback situation is going to be like for them this year. I don't know if their receivers are that great.
I like Ayuk. I think he's going to be pretty good this year.
Ayuk and Debo Samuel, like they'll probably both get 1,000 yards if things go well this season. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see San Francisco. Listen, I know they had a lot of injuries last year. I know they had to move at one point last year and play home games in Arizona. I don't see San Francisco winning 11 games this year. I'm sorry.
Okay. Fair enough.
I listen, and I like
Who starts week 1? Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo?
I think Garoppolo would start week 1. And then you go Garoppolo and then you go Lance whenever Garoppolo gets hurt, or he just starts, really playing like shit. They have an easy couple of weeks. Like I think they start the season against Philly and Detroit, which I mean, if you can't start well against Philly or Detroit, then you shouldn't be starting, shouldn't be playing. So
yeah, they're about midway through the ranks. They're tied 19th for hardest schedule. They're tied with Patriots, so
fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
My Seattle Seahawks. FanDuel has them at 10 wins this year. Over under 10 wins on the Seahawks.
Under.
Okay.
And I always see them as a 500 team. I think they're going to be like a 9-8 kind of team this year. Their defense is still suspect. And Jamal Adams, I don't think he's a top 10 safety in the league. His coverage kind of sucks, and with the weapons that this division has, I think Seattle's kind of hooped. But I mean, they still have a good offense, but I don't know. I think they're going to be a slight under. I think they're going to finish at around 9-8.
Obviously, I have them as an over.
Yeah, I mean, you give me the rundown of Seattle because that's your. I went on a long-winded rant about the Patriots. You tell me about the Seahawks.
So here's the thing. Basically, how it always works out is that Seattle always just finds a way to win 11 or 12 games and make the playoffs. Like it always just seemed to find a way to just win and get in. One of the things that I'm really fascinated with is their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron or whatever. He's coming from the Rams. He was one of McVay's top offensive assistants, and now he's the OC in Seattle. Apparently, things are going really well with him. I like the fact that they're getting somebody from the Rams to, be with Seattle to run some of their offense. It kind of modernizes, evolves it a little bit because Seattle is a bit stubborn. Pete Carroll's a bit stubborn sometimes with the offense. I I think between Metcalf, Lockett, Russ, their O-line, I think will be okay this year. It'll be better. It might not be great, but it'll still be better. The defense, I think the defense will again be a bend but not break defense. They'll get to 11 or 12 wins, I think, this year.
I
I think they find a way to get there.
I can totally see that.
I
Yeah, I can see that
I
happening.
trust more of what Seattle is doing than what San Fran's doing. Just like from I like to think as an outsider, like on a non-biased, like I like Pete Carroll, I think more as a head coach than Shanahan, but that might be more biased to me. I like the quarterback situation more. I like the receivers more. I trust, their defense, their players on defense more. But
Yeah.
I'm probably biased in saying that.
No, I really respect what Seattle does year in and year out. I don't know. I guess for the content, I'll say under.
There you go. That's fine. I will say though, if they are, if it doesn't work out, if the season just goes totally to shit, at least just win the Monday night game that I'm there and I can, make fun of Hayden the entire time.
I think that's gonna be. You guys have to put a wager on that somehow.
Oh, we're definitely doing some degenerate gambling.
Yeah.
Probably not even just the game. Probably just like how many either beers and hot dogs that we can all consume.
Yeah, I saw this fun game that you guys should play, and
Yeah.
I've Hayden asked me if I wanted to come, and it's just like my school schedule's weird. I have 2 classes that day, and it's just like
Oh, I'm skipping class. That I have
yeah.
a class on Monday night, so I'm skipping to go watch the game.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what I told him I'd let him know, but you should bring a bunch of ones. And I saw this thing about like, okay, will he complete a pass this down or whatever, or will it be a run or pass play? And then like you just do $1 bets. And like I saw this works more for baseball, but like people selling snacks and stuff. It's like, okay, is he gonna make a sale down this row? $1, yes or no? Like that kind of thing. And it's just like just bring like $20 in ones and then just make like $1 bets. I saw that and I was like, that seems kind of fun, but I mean, gamble responsibly.
Absolutely the challenge or game I want to do the next time I go to a ball game is the 999 challenge, which is 9 beers, 9 hot dogs in 9 innings at a baseball game.
Jesus, I think the 9. What was it? 9 beers, 9 hot dogs. I think the 9 hot dogs is gonna be the toughest part. 9 beers, you can get down 3 in 1 inning easy.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking about for baseball. Again, gamble and do all this stuff responsibly, but
yeah.
Where were we? Arizona, the Cardinals, 8 wins for the Cardinals.
This seems hard to judge.
I'm gonna say under.
Yeah, I'll say under as well.
If they don't get it right this year, if they can't get their shit together in the 3rd year of Kyler Murray, there might be some people losing their jobs.
I think Kingsbury, this is a make it or break it year for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had high expectations coming from college, and I don't think it's entirely Murray's fault because he's a certified baller in my opinion, and it's just a matter of can they put the pieces together. So,
Hopkins is obviously a good receiver. Christian Kirk's a good receiver. I don't know if Fitzgerald is coming back. He might not be. I don't know.
I think he is. I thought he signed a contract. No, or is he still a free agent?
He might not. I don't really care at this point. He is coming back. I'm just gonna say he is coming back because I want Fitzgerald to come back. With that division, I think they have the worst coach in that division. I think they have maybe the worst defense in that division. I don't see it with the Cardinals.
I think Seahawks defense is the worst.
Okay, that's fair. I like Budda Baker.
Yeah, and I mean, depends how long he's there. Chandler Jones, he requested a trade, but he's one of the best at his position. And JJ Watt, I think he saw some game in him.
Yeah.
And Isaiah Simmons, does he take a step?
I like Isaiah Simmons. I thought he
Yeah.
was a good pick coming out of college.
Yeah.
I just don't know. 8 wins, maybe a push. I don't know how they get to 9 or 10 wins.
I think a push at most.
Yeah, I think a solid under bet on the Cards.
Yeah.
But there is also a world where they can make the playoffs and somehow scratch in.
Like I said, they're a very weird team and hard team to evaluate. So
AFC West, also a fun division.
top heavy division.
Top heavy division. Speaking of that, Chiefs 12.5 wins
I think
over.
this is an easy over. It's
Yeah.
just like I said, like with the Bills and Browns and stuff. Like I can't see it, and then, like Packers, like I can't see them losing like 4 games. Like I think they're just gonna like they're just so good, and I think Clyde is gonna have a big year this year. Because I think he's gonna have a bigger role in the offense. Maybe I'm just saying that because I have him on my team, and I'm just trying
You're trying to will it
to
into existence.
exactly I'm trying to manifest it. But I mean, it's KC, man. Like let's be real here. It's the Chiefs. Like they're probably the favorites to win the Super Bowl again this year. Like or like top 2 at least. Like let's be honest. Like are you really gonna be surprised if they're in the Super Bowl again this year?
No.
Exactly. So and I think they're gonna do it with losing no more than 3 games this year. So I think it's an over for me.
That Patrick Mahomes guy is.
He might be something special in the coming years.
Yeah, he's like the funny thing about Mahomes was like you saw it in like the first year he was a starter, right? It's like, oh wow, okay, this is really good. I wonder if like any of this is sustainable. And now he's done it for 3 seasons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, best quarterback in the league. The insane shit he pulls every weekend out of his ass is just asinine almost. And even though this team's defense is middle of the pack, it's not great by any means. They'll still like find a way. Mahomes will find a way to throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, no problem. And it won't be a big deal, and it'll still win 38-21.
They're literally not out of any game.
No.
Yeah.
Even in the Super Bowl against the Bucs, when Mahomes is like fucking angled to the ground and he's still chucking bombs like to the end zone from 40 yards out.
He still gets the ball to where he needs it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Fucking insane. We're both over on the Chiefs at 12.5. Chargers 9.5 wins this year. Over under on the LA Chargers.
I think they're over, and they're gonna finish second in this division. And I think, I think Keenan Allen's gonna have a big year this year. I mean, I don't know. I just like what the Chargers bring. I like Herbert. I like him a lot. I think he might regress a bit, but I still like him a lot. And I think Eckler, he was hurt for a lot of last season, and he's back healthy. And and I just think Chargers over 9.5, in my opinion. How about you?
I've been looking at my notes here. I have a U next to the Chargers for under 9.5, but part of me really wants to go over with them because I really want Herbert to succeed. I want Keenan Allen to succeed. I want their defense to do well. I just don't know if they, Brandon Staley, who's like the new head coach, who has only had 1 year as a coordinator, and now all of a sudden he's a head coach. It's a little bit concerning. Concern with depth in some places, especially on the offensive line and defensive line. I'll stick with the under pick because I'm being conservative here, but part of me wants to go over because I want this team to do well. I want to see them actually like thrive, especially also with those uniforms. Their uniform combos.
Nicest jerseys in the league.
just really nice uniform combos. There's a lot of me that wants the Chargers to succeed. I just don't know if the Chargers will find a way to do it.
Yeah.
I hope so, but I'll say under a 9.5. Broncos 8.5. Over under on the Denver Broncos.
I think they're gonna go under.
Okay. I also have them as an under.
Yeah.
I think their defense is going to be really good. But it's like a Bear situation where their defense is just going to be on the field for so long because their offense just can't fucking figure it out.
Their quarterback situation, man, it's like I like Teddy a lot more than Drew, but I don't think Teddy has enough to push him to over 8.5 wins.
Teddy might give them 5 wins this year.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a very conservative quarterback. He doesn't really push the ball downfield, and I think the receivers that Broncos have, I think they're receivers that excel more once they kind of space it out downfield, and I don't think Drew Lock throws it downfield, it's getting picked, and Teddy doesn't throw it downfield. So I think they're under 8.5. I think they're around 7-8 win team. So
I like Bridgewater. I remember thinking before last season where like I was thinking of like Drew Lock and Gardner Minshew, right? And like Minshew, I'm like, I think Minshew's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I don't think he's a guy that I can maybe throw the keys to for the whole season. But I think he's a good quarterback, a serviceable quarterback. And I thought way less of Drew Lock, where Drew Lock's like, I definitely don't think he's a franchise quarterback, but I kind of want another season to, really get more of an opinion because I don't think it was fair to base it off of 1 year, but I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. And then last year, it's like, yeah, he's definitely not a franchise quarterback. He's definitely not someone I'm giving the keys in the car to because I just can't trust him.
Yeah. So, no, I'm in the same boat as you.
Under both on the Broncos. Las Vegas Raiders, our final team, the Raiders in Vegas. 6.5. 6.5 wins. According to FanDuel.
Under.
Okay. I got over.
Over?
I got over because I want the same with the Chargers. I want the Raiders to do well. I like Carr. I like Josh Jacobs. I like Abram. And I think it's more likely that the Raiders get to 7 wins than the Chargers get to 10 or 11.
Fair enough.
Why are you under on the Raiders? Why are you selling the Raiders?
I don't know. I just didn't see a ton of them. I don't know. Like Derek Carr he's good, but I think he's a little inconsistent. And I don't know. I just feel like they don't have enough to push over. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. And
you're not sold on them.
Yeah, they have the 8th hardest schedule in this year, and I don't know. I think they're gonna run into some trouble, and I think they're gonna lose some close games, but I don't think they're gonna hit over. I don't think they're gonna get to 7 wins.
I like Gruden. I think I just question a lot of the personnel moves that they made. Like they released 2 or 3 offensive linemen that I liked for them that were draft picks of Gruden and Mike Mayock, who's their GM. They got rid of a couple of weird guys this year. Their draft picks have been reaches. There's not a reason. There's a couple of reasons, but for the most part, you shouldn't really, I think, be sold on the Raiders or think that the Raiders are big contenders. I just, again, me wanting to believe that the Raiders will be better this year, or that they'll be a little bit more than what we've seen. But there really hasn't been anything that I think shown that they are really going to improve a whole lot. They might regress, actually.
I can respect that.
Jevon might know more than I do. Who knows?
Ian might know more than I do.
Who knows?
Hayden might know more than the both of us.
Hayden might know more than both of us combined.
Yeah.
What do I know? All right. So just to recap, the highest rated teams: Kansas City at 12.5, Tampa Bay at 11.5, Buffalo and Baltimore at 11 wins, Cleveland, San Francisco, and the Rams at 10.5. The lowest rated teams were Houston at 4, Detroit at 5, the Jets at 6, and Vegas, Philly, Cincinnati, Jacksonville at 6.5. Who are your absolute locks? The highest lock and a lowest lock.
for
Like who's
hitting
a
the
team?
for hitting the over.
Yeah, for hitting the over and hitting the under. Who's like absolutely this team is hitting the over and absolutely this team is hitting the under.
I think Buffalo's absolutely hitting over 11 wins
Okay.
for sure, and I'm gonna have to see some under picks, but let me.
Houston. I was gonna say I'm gonna go with Houston.
Yeah, I think Houston's up there as well.
Houston and Seattle are my picks. Biased with the Seahawks, but I think Seattle gets more than 10 wins, and I think Houston gets less than 4 wins.
Forget what I said for some under picks, but
I
let
think you
me
had the
see.
Jets. You had the Jets under. I think you had the Falcons under 7.5.
Yeah, do you know what? I think I'll just say Houston. I
All
think
right.
they're not. I think they're gonna be the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. I don't think they're gonna hit like 2 wins this year. They have nothing
Absolutely
besides
not.
Deshaun Watson, and if he even plays more than 2 games because of his whole situation, he might get like suspended for the year once everything comes out.
Yeah, I don't like Houston's roster at all
Yeah,
or their head coach.
yeah.
Um, 3 questions in our SYP mailbag, football related. We have 3 questions that we have to answer.
Let's get him going.
First comes from Hayden.
I
Hayden,
was kind of expecting that.
does Michael Thomas get traded, and if so, when?
I don't think he gets traded unless he demands a trade. Um, yeah, I don't think he gets traded. I think he's a core piece of that team, and I think if they trade him, then it's nothing but downhill for the Saints. And I don't necessarily they're in a rebuilding situation. I think they can compete where they're at now and for years to come. It's not like they have no quarterback situation because of Jameis Winston. I think the year behind Breeze could help him because I think he's thrown in the fire as a starter. Obviously, he wasn't ready. Like he threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. It's just a matter of being disciplined with the ball, right? And I think that's something that comes with maturity and like being behind one of the more like a quarterback who doesn't throw a lot of turnovers and Breeze, and I think that can really help him. So I don't think that he gets traded. I think they're in a good content position with him unless he demands a trade. And if he demands a trade, then that's basically for him. Maybe they do Thomas for Odell and something else to the Browns. Ooh, because there's some speculation of the Browns trading Odell, so maybe they kind of work something out there. Maybe change the scenery for both receivers. Who knows?
I'm going to say Michael Thomas does get traded, and he gets traded by the end of September.
Really?
I just don't. It seems like it's a very. I don't want to say terminal, but there's definitely it seems like some bad vibes between Thomas and the Saints that I don't know can be rectified. And I think Sean Payton is the type of guy to just like cut his losses and just get out of it. I don't. I think he's willing just to accept whatever and just we can play without you. We don't need you. We don't need you. You know, like the Antonio Brown thing, where it's just like we don't need
Okay.
you in your whatever every week. We can make this happen without you. We're happy to trade you for assets.
Where does he get traded to? San Fran?
Oh God, if he gets traded to San Fran, I might have a heart attack. Um, the Chargers actually could make room for him.
Buffalo?
Buffalo,
Have
I don't mind that.
Have a Diggs Thomas duo. Baltimore?
What about New England?
Yeah, I just don't think Bill's gonna do that. I think he likes to build from the draft. Obviously, he signed a bunch, but majority of the signings were for defense, despite the double tight end system, which he likes. The number one receiver we signed this offseason was Aguilar, and he's like a wide receiver 3 on like every other team.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like our best receiver this year. So I don't think he goes to the Patriots. Maybe he get, I don't know.
I think if the price gets so low for him, I think Bill might trade like a 6th or 7th rounder for him.
Maybe, but I think Thomas's worth is way more than that.
Oh, I think he is too.
Maybe Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas, that would be a good place for him. That'd be entertaining.
Or do like a Robert Woods for Thomas kind of thing to LA.
You really need to stop saying NFC West teams, man, or you're gonna give me a fucking heart attack.
Have I mentioned Arizona yet? I'm gonna say every team but the Seahawks. What if they traded DK for Thomas?
No. Come on now. Come on. Okay.
Or what if they just gave Brady another weapon in Tampa?
Actually, Antonio Brown for Michael Thomas would kind of be like a funny trade, like a backhand like insult to Tom a little bit, because Brady's been promoting Antonio. Brady's been like, come on, Antonio, like you can stay at my house and all this sort of shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, actually, Tom, we traded somebody that you like for a cheaper, maybe not cheaper, younger, potentially better option.
Yeah.
Who says no? SYP Creator Scott, he asked a team a very casual fan should watch for this season.
The Chargers.
I was thinking the Chargers before I
think they're going to be really fun this year. Even Jacksonville, I think they're going to be a team that a lot of people are going to watch just because of the Trevor Lawrence effect and see how he implements himself into that team. Is he asking like who he could become a fan of?
I think he's just asking like a team that a casual fan might want to have interest in.
Also Miami. I think Miami is a really fun team, and they're building a really good culture there, and especially with Flores, if you want a team that you can maybe hop on the bandwagon of, I think Dolphins are right there.
I'm going to give 2 teams. I'm going to say the Bears, because I'm really sold on Fields and the Bears defense. The Bears could be really fun to watch. The Seahawks are a fun team to watch. Just don't get any emotional attachment to the Seahawks. Don't get attached to them emotionally, because I swear I've lost years off my life from rooting for this team, because every year they play 3 to 5 just absolutely bonkers games that I just can't sleep the next night. Like I just can't.
The amount of 1-score games Seattle puts themselves in is ridiculous.
I don't sleep a lot rooting for this team. So
Scott, come join the Patriots side with me. Let's go, baby.
There you go. Join a bunch of teams, Scott. There's a bunch of teams.
There's a lot of young, exciting teams to watch. Tennessee, even if Washington. There's a lot of fun teams to pay attention to.
I think the top one though is the Chargers.
Yeah.
Top one would be the Chargers. Finally, Aiden Ramich, friend of the pod, asked, who wins the NFC West? You know my answer, but I'm
the Rams.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I think it goes Seattle, Rams, San Fran, Arizona.
I can respect that order, but I think the Rams are going to win because I think they're way more they're the best well-rounded team. They're solidified at quarterback. They have a good receiving core with Kupp, Woods. Their defense their defense is spectacular. They have the best cornerback in the league and one of the greatest defensive players of all time in Aaron Donald. And obviously best cornerback, I'm talking about Jalen Ramsey. And then their tight ends as well, Higbee and Everett. Like they're solid everywhere.
Well, unfortunately, Everett's on Seattle now.
Oh, is he? My apologies. My apologies. What am I doing?
Hayden would know. No,
I'm not even qualified for this anymore. No, but even like their backfield was good until unfortunately Cam Akers went down with a torn Achilles. But I think the Rams win the NFC West.
All right, I got Seattle winning. I'm kind of obligated to say, yeah,
you have to.
That's the podcast. Good Lord, that was a really fun podcast with you,
That was
Jevon.
fun.
Do you have anything you want to plug or sponsor, or promote, or anything? Take the time to do so here.
I do have some things to plug.
Well, I was gonna say, since you've been plugging Speak Your Piece on my own podcast, which I greatly appreciate, I at the minimum have to let you plug whatever you want to plug.
Buy Ian's merch. Speak Your Piece. Follow me on my personal on Instagram at Jevon.Lefebvre. That's JEVON.LEFEBVRE. Very confusing last name. Just search up on Instagram. You'll check it out.
We'll tag you and all this stuff.
Twitter at Jevon Lefebvre. Find everything from my show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at leftsideheavy_. And I'm trying to post a lot more. I just came out with an NBA free agency pod on Wednesday, and I'm going to be coming out with some more NFL content in the coming weeks. And I'm actually going to shout out my buddy. He started a clothing brand. It's called Kairos. He just dropped a capsule on Instagram, Kairos Clothing. Some of the stuff is absolute heat, so be sure to check him out on Instagram. But yeah, that's about it. That's kind of all I got. Yeah, follow the Instagram and Twitter, and I might be doing a giveaway pretty soon. I just have to kind of figure out what I kind of want to do it, because I just did one not too long ago.
Yeah.
But be sure to follow the social media, and yeah, I'll be sure to follow you back.
So pretty much, Jevon is a great follow. Jevon does a wonderful podcast. You should check out Jevon's podcast. It's a great listen. You're doing about once a week now still, aren't you?
Yeah, so I do
because I'm confusing my schedule with your schedule, which is not true. We're not quite on this like busy with the podcast. Like you're doing a lot more important stuff than I'm doing.
Well, that's you're solidifying yourself in the journalism game, and I respect that a lot more than what I'm doing. But no, yeah, I upload every Wednesday, and then it's kind of confusing, but every fourth episode I upload a kickback and relax episode. So every fourth Friday. It's more of like a laid back kind of get away from the world of sports. And my most recent one, I had Hayden and his buddies on, and we played a game of Jeopardy.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
And that was a really fun episode to record and edit, because I just got to listen to it back. But I have some interviews hopefully lined up in the coming weeks. I'm going to be, might just be a regular episode, but I'm going to be talking to one of my sister's buddies who got drafted to the Diamondbacks and then eventually made his way to the Blue Jays. So he's in their system. So I'm going to be interviewing him pretty soon. And yeah, so the kickback and relax episodes are the heavy hitters for my following. But yeah, I do NFL, NBA, NHL content for the most part. And I might be even coming out with some MLB content pretty in the coming weeks. So yeah, just be sure to follow and keep up to date with that. But
awesome. Well, thank you, Jevon. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thank you, Ian, for having me. I appreciate it, man.
We'll have to get together again at some point here, probably maybe before school starts too. Who knows?
No, I'm down, man.
Be sure to check out all of Jevon's stuff. Be sure to check out all of our stuff. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You know the drill. Thank you very much for listening and watching. We'll be back again soon. Peace out.
Peace.